You can also imagine OpenAI, acquiring code editing tools and trying to become a provider of downstream products that maybe even compete with some of their customers who are using their commercial interfaces. So if you look at OpenAI, they're in this process of transitioning from trying to be a research organization, which they were for a long time, a very good one, to a company that sells a product that people around the world want to use. And I think that is a transition that they need to survive the process through. You could imagine a universe where OpenAI is a product company that sells a product to other product companies that essentially focuses just on the model itself as a service, as an API. And in some sense, they're doing that pretty well. But you can also imagine OpenAI, acquiring code editing tools and trying to become a provider of downstream products that maybe even compete with some of their customers who are using their commercial interfaces. This is a trickier journey for OpenAI, this third step to going after downstream consumer-facing products. They did a good job with chat, but they learned a lot of lessons and made some mistakes along the way. If I were OpenAI, I might focus more on the enterprise use cases and trying to develop more specialized models that help other customers build downstream products. But you could also imagine that space becomes commoditized. OpenAI needs to hedge its bets and try to go after some of the downstream products as well. The analogy of Apple Sherlocking its companies is interesting. As a founder at an AI company, I guess I'm not too worried about OpenAI coming after my business directly, partly because we have to take risks and we have to specialize. And OpenAI really shouldn't be taking the risks that we should be taking and probably really shouldn't be specializing at this point. Maybe, if you look at the App Store, it's an interesting analogy where Apple has an enormous ecosystem of apps that it needs to support on its phone. It could try to go after any one or all of the apps in the App Store and try to replace that market, but it's just not the right business strategy. I mean, Apple can make way more by selling the underlying platform, the environment. I think in some sense, OpenAI is probably better suited in that position than it is trying to go after, my startup.